Getting the door parts the exact right size for an inset door is really, really important, because if we don't do it, that gap, that inset gap that we're looking for of 3/32 of an inch per side, tiny number, is not going to be right. It's really weird if that gap gets a little bit too big, suddenly it starts to look like the Grand Canyon. If it gets a little bit too small, the door won't operate. So let's walk through the formula that we need for this. There is another video that covers similar information for overlay doors, so be sure you check that out as well. Here's what we need to know. Inset door, so that's our category of door. The gap per side, commonly on an inset door, is 3/32 inch per side. So another way to say that would be that the door is 3/16 of an inch smaller than the opening. 3/16 shorter, 3/16 narrower. Here's how the math goes. Stiles are the vertical component of your door. Stiles are crazy easy to calculate. Height of the opening minus 3/16 of an inch. Let's look at the door and figure out just how easy that is and why it's so easy. Stiles simply run continuously from the top of the door to the bottom of the door. Height of the opening minus 3/16 gives us the length of the stile, the overall length of the door. Rails, however, are a little bit more complex. On our rails, we're going to take the width of the opening minus 3/16. So that starts out the same. Now we know the width of the door. Minus 2 times the width of our stiles plus 2 times the length of the tongues. Here's what this is all about. Let me put together a mock-up frame here. Width of the opening minus 3/16. Like I said, that gives us the overall width of the door. Minus 2 times the width of the stiles. So we subtract the width of this one, the width of this one, gives us the inside opening. Plus 2 times the length of the tongue. When we look at how the rails interact with the stiles, the tongue on the rail projects up into the groove on the stile. We need to know how long this is in order to get this right. This number varies a little bit from cutter to cutter. In this case, it's 7/16 of an inch. We can determine this by simply putting a ruler inside the groove, because the depth of the groove is the same as the length of the tongue. The commonly used numbers for this for manufacturers are 3/8, 7/16, ½ inch. Don't trust me though. Make a test cut, measure your piece to figure out what this is. We multiply that tongue length times 2, because there's a tongue at each end of our rails. So we've got to have that multiplied times 2. One of the things that can make life easier here is the use of a fractional calculator. With these, I can put in fractions. I can subtract fractions, and it results in fractions. I did something really funky there, but it reads out in fractional results, so it makes us a lot easier to do rather than trying to convert this stuff to decimals, then convert it back to fractions. One more opportunity to make a mistake. You can find fractional calculators at home centers. You can find them online. It's a very, very useful thing to have in your shop. With inset doors in particular, it's really important that you practice this and you make sure you get these numbers right before you start cutting parts for your door, because as I said earlier, especially on these inset doors, if you get the numbers wrong, it's going to be really obvious. As I also mentioned earlier, this is all about inset doors. Make sure you check out our other video that covers similar math to help you calculate the sizes for overlay doors. Once you have the hang of this, you'll be cutting your door parts to the perfect size in no time at all.